from where I am. Gee, you ought to try to get a little well. Got it. Oh, great, sure. How many of you were here yesterday? It was all a lie. All new answers. Hopefully new questions too.
January, right?
January, that's right. That's the code word, January. Those of you who don't know, don't ask. Okay. I always love it. You tend to look, one tends to go towards the light, even if you play Q. And this side is always, it's because of that. All right. How can I entertain you? What? This is PG. What questions can I entertain you? Yes.
Since doing the Q, how has it changed your life? How many doors has it opened?
I walk around as Q at least an hour or two a day. And nothing happened. How has it changed my life? I'm getting more. They're giving me a long leash. There we go. Okay. Well, how has it changed my life? I get to come and visit with you people. It's just, there was a gentleman yesterday who was saying, gee, you need a show like MASH. And every actor looks for something that he can do, which is, Q is just like a little taste. I guess I'm still looking for a show that you would see, although I found many of them on the stage. But I'm still looking for a show that you might get to see that gets to use me more. Q is just a little taste of it. Yeah, yes?
When you're working with Roddenberry and Star Trek, do you have any latitude or very much latitude, or do they set you in with exactly the character they want, exactly the way they want you to express yourself?
No latitude. Longitude. Yeah, no, they're very easy to work with and what have you. I mean, the problem in television is time. There's very little time to do anything. When you see a television show, what you need to be aware of is that the production values, particularly this kind of show, are fabulous. It's just amazing what we're able to do in a very short period of time. When you see a feature that is cracking, there's very little excuse. You should recognize that. They've had months to work on that script, months to shoot it, and months to fix it afterwards. And that just isn't the case with television. And so, in a way, and even less so when you go from episodic to daytime television. So it's quite extraordinary what you do get in the amount of time. My work with Gene is minimal. It's on the spot as he was at one time. But there were times where I was sitting and having lunch today, and we were talking about the fact that crickets we were talking about the fact that the actors know, that the fans know a lot more than the actors do about the characters. Right? And in one of the episodes, I don't remember which one, I turned to Gene when he was, in fact, when he was still on the set, I turned to him and I said, Gene, this is a really kind of a soft exit. I'm just kind of going bye-bye. I need something more here. And he said, well, what can we do? So we kind of talked about it for a few minutes. And then just as a way to get out of the situation. I mean, you know, I looked up and delivered half the lines up there and then back to Picard. Well, the questions I got. Who were you talking to? What does it mean you're going to come back? What does it, you know, on and on and on. But what was wonderful about it was just a kind of a wink and a nod. We had created a whole new dimension, as it were. You know, now we had created a queue, like there are a whole bunch of them, and that I was maybe only a puppet of them. And, you know, it went on and on and on. But believe me, at the time, it was just a way out of what we knew to be a soft, dramatic exit, and not as thought out as you would have us, as you would think it would be. Anything? Yes. Now you have to talk really loud.
What's it like with all that?
Well, we get along fine. I mean, we don't have any, you know, they're there morning, noon, and night, all the time. I only come in for a week, a year. And when I come in, I have a great deal to do usually. So there isn't a lot of chit chat. It's kind of hello and how have things been, and you know, let's do lunch. We'll be sure to play tennis after all. I mostly have work to do, and they have work to do, and they also have a routine. When you're doing a show, you begin to develop a routine, which is kind of a survival routine, which permits you to come in very early hours, spend a great deal of time doing nothing, and leave at the end of the day intact to be able to go and do it again the next day. So as time goes on, you're really there to work and do. I mean, I enjoy the people, some of whom I have longer conversations with than others, let's say. But generally, I'm just there. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Loud.
Any insight into why Q and Guinan don't get along? And
Oh, I explained yesterday. It was one of those bad dates. Just that awful, awful date that never should have happened, and you knew it about 15 minutes into the date, and it just got worse and worse and worse.
when will we be seeing the Q again?
I will tell you all again. I don't know. No one's called me. And yesterday I got asked so many times that finally somebody said January, and I said, that's it, it will be January. I have no idea. It will be funny though if it wasn't. It is January. Yes.
You helped the Enterprise out of escaping from the board once. Why didn't they call on him again when the board came back?
Why didn't they?
Yes.
Why didn't they call on me when the board came back? I lost my phone number. I don't know. I'll tell you, not only do I not know if I work on the show, I mean, you know, what happens usually is, like last year, they called maybe 6 weeks or so in advance and said, we would like to use John. My agent probably said, okay, but 6 weeks in advance is a long time to book him. Call us a little sooner. And that was it. You know, I got the script quite literally the night before. I was able to look at it and suggest some changes that would make life easier for me. And then I went into shooting. I mean, so it's as I'd say I'm not in the loop, as it were. So the last thing that I know about is what story ideas are. Now, you people have tons of great. Quick, yes.
As Q, one time you lost your powers, and they took them away from you, and you got a chance to kind of feel what it was like to be somewhat human or whatever. As an actor, how did you work with that as Q? And how did it affect you think Q's character, did he learn anything from that, or is he still the obnoxious, the, the arrogant he is?
Well, you know, a great deal of the actor's work is to permit the audience to do their work. When you see an actor portray something, bad acting is usually considered caricature, right? Really bad, or really, you know, whatever it is, kind of cartoon. When you see that, the audience doesn't get much of an opportunity to do their own work, which is to imagine all sorts of different things. I try to let a little bit of air, as it were, in my acting, so that you have the opportunity to do your work and to come up with all sorts of different reasons and things like that. But you know what? I don't think about those things. It's already given in the script that I'm omnipotent, so I don't have to act omnipotent. It's already given that I have become a human. Well, in as much as I am human, I don't have to act that. So, as long as I stay relaxed enough and don't caricaturize it, then all that character stuff becomes your job, which is what's fun about it. I mean, the wonderful thing about when you read a wonderful play like Shaw or Shakespeare is that everybody in the audience is getting something different, and what they're getting different out of the portrayal is that they're including themselves in it. And that's hopefully what I do to a certain extent. And so those answers are best answered by you. Yes. What's the funniest? I hate those questions. What's the funniest incident? Embarrassing, yeah, the most embarrassing. You know what? I can't really tell you. I don't have those. What I was explaining yesterday is that you really don't have those things. You know, you're kind of in a state of, there's an enormous amount of pressure. The pressure is, like right now, I'm learning some lines. I have to go in. You go in, you say hello, you meet. I'm doing a movie with Eric. I'll go in, hello, Eric, you. The director will say, okay, can we just walk through the scene? You're walking through the scene and saying your lines for the first time ever. So of course there's a lot of pressure because you've got a lot of people watching. And you walk through it and you kind of stumble, and there's of course somebody there going, oh, I'm sorry, John, that was you said the, and it's really a. And so that adds to it, and then they say, all right, is that good for the camera? Yes, and then the camera and the lighting, they go in the light, and then you go over and you might spend a minute or so, or maybe 10 or 15 minutes, running it with the other actor, and then you go back and you shoot. Well, that doesn't leave much room for kind of the funniest moment in the day. It's a lot of pressure, and so your concentration and your focus is really on getting the work done. And just as somebody asked, well, why don't they show bloopers? Bloopers are usually just kind of stupid little incidences that didn't happen, stupid little mistakes that you don't have any opportunity to really work your way out of and be creative in a way. I picked up the glass and there was no water in it, so I pretended as if I didn't want it and put it down. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. You just pick up the glass and there's no water in it. Cut, water done, back to like that. So there isn't. I don't find that film or television really is a medium for that type of experience. It's really only in the theater that you get that.
And what do you prefer? Do you prefer a lot of rehearsals or no rehearsals at all?
What do I prefer? A lot of rehearsals or no rehearsals?
Right.
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes no rehearsal, or very little rehearsal, can be really wonderful because you're really flying by the seat of your pants. But what happens in a rehearsal process is that, let's say you rehearse something 2 or 3 or 4 times. from your angle, you're going up to a peak. Then a dip takes place, as the rehearsal has now, you've extended your rehearsal process, and it begins to pull apart. And that pulling apart is actually, like in a play, a maybe 2-week period of time where actually you might get worse. And then you begin to move back up to another peak, which is the opening, but it is in a way higher than this peak over here. In a film, what you don't want to have happen, you don't want to be performing on film as much as you want to stay in the rehearsal mode on film. And I found for myself is that I don't really want to do it more than 3 or 4 times, because I then begin to go back into this valley where it's beginning to be a performance, and it's lacking a rehearsal quality, which is a little like this. So it just depends on what it is. You know, if I had to have a play, I just did Man and Superman, which was 3.5 hours of me talking almost the whole time. Well, I'm on stage the whole time, and I'm almost talking the whole time. And there, I just needed enormous amounts of rehearsal time. There was no way to get around it. But when I worked on the soap, the lines were not really very important. It was really mostly the relationship between Arlene and I, and there we could wing it. We could, you know, we could just knock it off very quickly.
Well, besides in television, you really don't have time.
And on television, you don't have the time. Right. And you know what? Here's the instructions. Tell those. Now, what am I selling here? Here is a Star Trek. Tell me what the significance of this is. This is the Doctor Who. Oh, this has an article about the Q comic book, which I have yet to read, and the comic, which I would be happy to sign, up and down. So, and there are 2 of them. So, how about, well, one at a time. Okay. How about if you just open the bidding list? 10. And going on? 20. 25. 25 going once, twice. 25, 25, 25, 25. It's going to be hard for the second one. Same thing. Nobody would want the second one. No. 15, oh good. 15 going once. 20. It's the last one. No, there'll be no more. This was the last one. 25. 25 going 1, 2, 3, 25. And these, I'm. What's that? Oh, buy it. I know they will, but I'll give these. I mean, they're just. Oh, it's good cause. Okay. It's smutty poetry. So it's $1. Read it. It's a. What is it?
That's what you get in the deal. You get to read it.
Okay.